At 8:38 a.m., we continue our broadcast on news and views right here on Assalam Media. Now, there's been a very interesting, in fact, quite an in-depth opinion piece that has been penned by Imaan Moosa, who is the marketing coordinator at the Daily Maverick and also co-founder of EmpowHER. And this opinion piece is entitled "Love and Solidarity in Times of the Israel-Palestine War." And it articulates the desperate times that we are living in, but also at the same time looking at solidarity. Now, we know many of us, it's difficult. We are actually overwhelmed, and it is extremely difficult to sit, to hear, to witness, whether we're watching our television screens, whether we're reading even on social media, where we see these horrific images. And many people talk about the unprecedented times that we are living in, and Iman obviously disagrees in terms of the times. And this is the reason why we are talking with Imaan Moosa. Iman, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and welcome to the show.
Alaikum salam. Thank you for having me.
Yes, Iman, I've had a look at this article and it is pretty detailed, this opinion piece, but it actually covers so much. It says so much. And I'd like to talk about, you saying that we are not living in unprecedented times. The war on Palestine could have been prevented. And let's just talk about the scale of the unprecedented genocide that is unfolding in Gaza.
Thank you. I think it's important to note that the war is precedented because it's the occupation of Gaza and of Palestine, occupied territories, has been ongoing for 75 years, since the signing of the Balfour Declaration in 1914 and subsequent occupation of Gaza and of the occupied territories. We've seen immense brutality enacted on the Palestinian people. And I think looking at the history is to say that, you know, this could have been avoided if the world had taken heed, if leaders and politicians and policymakers had come to the table and prevented this. I know that the counter argument comes up that all the Palestinian leaders didn't agree to a two-state solution, but in fact, the solution that was given to them was not what was, it didn't have any dignity for the Palestinians. I mean, Israel had occupied so much land at that point, and we see that the land for the Palestinians gets smaller and smaller. So a two-state solution is in fact null and void. And so I think that's where I'm coming from when I say that this war is precedented, is that it could have been avoided if proper policies and procedures had been put in place, if Israel had stopped what it had been doing from the very start and hadn't encroached on land that had in fact belonged to people, to the indigenous people. So yeah.
Yes. Also, Iman, I think, when one looks at the scale of the carnage, the savagery, the brutality with which we find this genocide unfolding, and, there are many that, we can't even turn away. And I think you make mention of this in your article where you raise the question, how do we turn away from the trauma that we are witnessing? Should we have the luxury to mute the videos on our screens? How do we pick ourselves up after being shattered by our new reality?
hmm So when I looked at that, I was thinking about how deeply saddened I was feeling, but not just saddened, this heartbreak and grief and helplessness and despair. And it's easy to get sucked into that, especially as an empath, someone who feels very deeply for other people. I can often spiral into despair. And in that feeling of despair, it's easy to lose ourselves, to feel, well, what is the point? How can we be a just and a merciful God if something like this is happening? And I think in losing ourselves, it is difficult to find a way back out of that and to find a way to help and to feel useful. And so, what helped me is learning that actually in taking care of ourselves, in being kind to ourselves and loving ourselves and being attentive to those feelings, sitting with what we're feeling and knowing that it's okay. I've actually seen a lot of posts, people are condemning other people for feeling despair and saying, well, you're not allowed to feel this way. because the Palestinians are going through so much worse, and we need to rally and we need to be there and help in any way that we can. And yes, while that's true, I don't think we should be taking away from the fact that this moment that we're seeing is incredibly unnatural. As human beings, shouldn't be enacting such atrocity on other human beings. And so it's okay to feel despair. It's okay to feel helpless and hopeless. But we should heed those calls that we're feeling, listen to those emotions, take care of ourselves, and then get up again and help, whether it's being able to give money or give our time, hosting protests or discussions, anything that moves our souls towards justice and towards humanity is important. And that can also mean being kind to ourselves and being just to ourselves first, that we can help one another.
Well, certainly, and I think you actually speak about this in your article, where you speak about as a collective and communal solidarity, which is extremely important, and also in terms of the trauma that we see around us as well. We all feel this trauma as a collective, and this is where this actually reminds us together in terms of showing solidarity together, and at the same time to do whatever we can, Iman.
Yes, definitely. And it goes back to something that I read once, which said, as indigenous people, anyway, when suffering is happening as an oppressed person, everyone feels it. It's not just that you may be suffering in Sudan, for example, and it's completely isolated from your suffering in South Africa. It's all interlinked. And so as a collective, we're feeling this despair, we're feeling this anger for the Palestinians, but we're all united in our suffering, we're united in our solidarity and our want to do more for each other. And I think that's important, that no one is alone. And we're all together in feeling what the Palestinians are going through. Of course, we'll never understand or feel it in the same way that they are, but that we are together and we can help as a unit and as a collective.
Well, definitely, and I think also you make this point that this is a duty that sits with each of us to answer our own humanity's call for the killing of innocent people to stop immediately. So there is a lot we can do, and I know last night I attended an event, a call to Gaza, and we just had a brief discussion on the sidelines, looking at where we are, looking at what has been taking place in the last 2 months, and South Africa again. We're heading into the holiday season, and we know what happens during the holiday season. We all go off on our holidays, or we sit and we relax, but these are unprecedented actions that we've seen taking place. We've seen unprecedented brutality that is taking place, and going even into a time when everybody seems to be taking it easy. We're going to chill, we're going to relax, we're going to go on holiday, but all of this still will be playing out even during this what is called a festive period.
Of course, and I think it's normal for us to fall back into our daily routines, to forget what's on our screens, even to mute it, to turn another, turn the cheek and, get on with our day. It's normal because we're not living it. But it's important to distinguish that while we're not living it, we can still be in remembrance of what's happening and be mindful of it. For example, what I like to practice is that mindfulness of gratitude. So if I am having a glass of water, it's as simple as that. I think, there's so many Palestinians who don't have access to water right now in Gaza. Their water is shut off. They don't have drinkable water. So having a glass of water, I am very mindful, and I thank Allah, and I thank Him for the provision of having that. If I'm going for a walk, I'm mindful of the fact that I can walk in a safe neighborhood without bombing, without feeling afraid. And so it's while we go about our daily routine, we're on holiday, we're having a lovely time, we're with friends, just being mindful of the fact that we have this collective that we're able to share fun times with, while they are Palestinians, while they are Sudanese and Congolese and Haitians and people around the world who aren't able to share in the same blessings that we do. So just holding what is happening in mind is so important in not losing sight of the fact that we are all part of this world and we are all part of what is happening, even though we may not be directly living in it.
Well, Iman, I would say shukran to you, Jazakallah, for your time this morning with us, and have yourself a wonderful day ahead, inshallah, as well. And we
Thank
appreciate your
you.
time right here on Salam Media. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Imaan Moosa was us, marketing coordinator at the Daily Maverick and also co-founder of Empower Her. With that, we're going to go for a break. We come back, we'll be joined by a story from Gaza. In fact, he is in South Africa, Muhammad Al Farah, and he is with the Wings of Mercy.